You're going to double down on the coffee.
Oh, I'm gonna double down. Welcome back to Hollywood versus Cleveland, salty media and movie reviews. Today we're going to be talking about the 1995 film Heat, written and directed by Michael Mann, a four-time Oscar-nominated filmmaker known for Thief, The Insider, Ali, The Last of the Mohicans, Collateral, and the list goes on and on. Michael Mann has a long string of TV credits as well, including executive producer of the wildly popular 80s TV show Miami Vice, which he later made into a movie in 2006. Drop us a comment on what your favorite Michael Mann movie is, and be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. Don't cost nothing. Okay, folks, here is your official spoiler alert. We're going to dive deep into Heat. So if you've been living under a rock and actually haven't seen this crime epic masterpiece by Michael Mann, check it out before listening to this analysis. So, John, do you agree? Is Heat a masterpiece?
Yeah, I think it's a great movie. And the hype around it at the time was it's got Pacino and De Niro in it, who are both at that time and still considered these, like, basically the best in the business. And they were both in Godfather 2, but they don't have any scenes together, and they never had any scenes together. So that was one of the hooks for me for that movie was, they're in a scene together. That's kind of interesting. What we've come to know both of those actors for is sort of unhinged dramatic roles. So that scene felt like a letdown to me. They're at a diner, and in that sequence, they're both pretty calm, and they just have kind of a basic conversation.
You know, we're sitting here, you and I, like a couple of regular fellas.
It's almost anticlimactic. It's just that it's not delivered during gunfire or, in an action-packed sequence or a dramatic sequence. They have this casual conversation and the scene just ends and cut to something else. So at that time, I wouldn't have considered it that great, but that conversation is crucial to the movie. I'll touch on this later.
Well, and I'll just say, and of course, we'll both be talking about that scene later, but I agree that Heat is a masterpiece. But John, I've got one major beef with the film.
What would that be?
I'll tell you. So, dude, honestly, and I'm going to get a lot of guff for this. I'm bringing the word guff back. But at the end of the movie, I believe the Robert De Niro character, Neil McCauley, should have gotten away. I'll explain. But first, I love this close-up as McCauley sets his gun and his keys down on the table in his home. It's a visual representation of McCauley's dilemma. The gun obviously represents the criminal life he's chosen. The keys represent the home he can't have because he doesn't have a home. He has no true loved ones in his life. Like his cabinets, like his entire apartment, McCauley is cold and empty.
When are you gonna get some furniture?
When I get around to it.
But really, McCauley doesn't have any plans to get around to it. As a high-end professional, Neil McCauley lives by a code. And the first time this code comes up is when he's in his apartment with Chris. And keep in mind, the movie is called Heat.
Remember Jimmy McElwain on the yard used to say, you want to be making moves on the street, have no attachments, allow nothing to be in your life that you cannot walk out on in 30 seconds flat if you spot the heat around the corner. Remember that?
And what does Chris say in response?
For me, the sun rises and sets with her, man.
So what's that mean? Well, that means I don't live by that code. I'm in love with this woman, Charlene. In other words, we're different. Then at the midpoint of the movie, and John, we've talked about midpoints of the movie before, and that's the point of the movie where there's just no going back. The characters are in too deep.
LAPD, gee, what? Where the fuck did this heat come from? Our problem is take the bank or split right now. Do not go home, do not pack, nothing. 30 seconds flat from now, we are gone on our separate ways. That's it.
And he mentions that 30 seconds flat again. So you could say, he's got the heat on him. But I take that 30 seconds flat as the heat's not on our doorstep yet. In fact, he uses the phrase coming around the corner.
Guy told me one time, don't let yourself get attached to anything you are not willing to walk out on in 30 seconds flat if you feel the heat around the corner.
So then if you spot me coming around that corner, you're just gonna walk out on this woman?
That's the discipline.
And there's that phrase again, coming around the corner. And Edie is specifically brought up as the thing he's going to give up. So the question is, will McCauley give up Edie when push comes to shove? When the heat is coming around the corner, will he give up Edie? That to me is the question that's being raised for me. And we don't know what he's going to do, of course, because we see him falling in love with Edie. So after their first night together, and he's about to leave, and he turns back and he looks back at her, and there's this sort of this melancholy feel as he's looking down on her sleeping. He's recognizing, this is what I can't have. And maybe I want it and didn't realize I wanted it, but this is what I can't have. So I think he actually does intend for it to be a one-night stand, or at least nothing very serious, because he lives by this code. But things progress and get much more serious.
All I know is there's no point in me going anywhere anymore. It's gonna be alone. Without you.
So McCauley has this code that he lives by, no attachment, so you can walk away. But at the same time, he's all in with Edie now. So what's going to happen? Well, near the end, at the climax of this movie, after McCauley kills Waingro, he's on his way out of the hotel. He's about to get in the car with Edie and go to their plane. And what happens? He nearly literally sees the heat coming around the corner. Here's the moment that they've been talking about. And what does he do in that moment? He does what he always said he would do. He follows through, lives by the code, and walks away. He gives up the love of his life. And what happens? He still gets blown away by Vincent Hanna. And dude, you could say, okay, so McCauley was wrong. You know, that's it. He just was wrong. He lived his life by this code. That was an illusion of control. He didn't really have control, and he was just wrong, and he got. But to me, that's unsatisfying in terms of movie logic and the movie experience. I want him to get away. He did what he said he would do. Also, you could say, okay, you've got equal billing between Pacino and De Niro. Therefore, the police officer, the good guy, has to win. And De Niro is a bad guy. However, I think it's still a better ending that McCauley gets away, because we know what he's giving up.
There's no point in me going anywhere anymore. It's gonna be alone.
He's giving up everything. We've seen what his life is like before Edie, cold and empty. We see the drastic change once McCauley starts falling in love with Edie. So without Edie, he's going to go back to being an empty vessel. And that is punishment enough. And it's more of a poetic justice. And of course, I've sort of backed myself into this argument, but I think Chris should not get away. Now, I love that sequence, okay? I mean, I absolutely love that sequence, always have, but he shouldn't get away. He goes back into the lion's den to get his wife and son, and he gets away. So if you think that Pacino is the police officer, if he needs more of a victory in terms of the movie, you can't have him lose everybody. Have him get Chris, but McCauley gets away, and then later we're talking about it after we see the movie. Oh, I can't believe De Niro gets away, that Neil McCauley gets away. And it would be more of a discussion. Yeah, he gets away, but what's his life going to be like? So I think that's a cooler ending and would follow the movie logic that Heat lays out to us over and over and over through McCauley's speeches. And I'll be honest with you, part of it is I just hate seeing him get blown away. It's like sad.
Yeah.
Like it, you know what I mean? So John, what's your response to that? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great take. And I think this is part of the reason why when I came away from that movie, it didn't really have the immediate impact. But as it marinated over the years, I think it's aged really well. And the reason why I think that is because I think this movie is more about relationships than it is about crime.
You never told me I'd be excluded.
I told you when we hooked up, baby, that you were gonna have to share me with all the bad people and all the ugly events on this planet.
Well, if you think about Heat, you think about this bank, it's a heist movie, right?
Right.
And then when you're watching it, the number of relationship scenes are off the charts.
What you hanging with me for, Lillian?
Because I'm proud of you.
You proud of me?
And so all of these relationships, they hinge on choices that people make, choices between their relationship and something else.
And it's all over you. 3 marriages, what the fuck do you think that means? He likes staying home? With this guy, this much shit you should pass.
So Nate has done some research on Hannah, and he's basically warning him that the guy that's on his case respects him and has his attention. And this is Hannah making a choice of his career over his relationships. So now we get to the cafe scene, and they talk about having a regular type life.
So you never wanted a regular type life?
The fuck is that? Barbecues and ball games?
Except that McCauley is making fun of this stuff.
Yeah.
Essentially, McCauley is an unreliable narrator. And we've talked about an unreliable narrator before. But he's making fun of this regular life. But his actions are not in concert with that.
Take off with me for a while.
Where?
New Zealand.
For my job.
I got money, you don't need money. You could set up a studio to work there.
He wants to get away with Edie. That's the life he actually wants. His code is inverted. What he's talking about with his code is for somebody else. Or it's about choices. Choices between your relationship and what you want to do.
You asked, so I gotta tell you. Guy you wanted checked into the Hotel Marquis under Jameson, if you still give a shit. Which I figured you wouldn't.
You figured right.
So walking away takes a completely ironic twist here, in that what he should have done was walked away with Edie.
You're home free.
Take it easy.
But McCauley can't walk away.
I gotta take care of something.
That's the moment where he doesn't walk away. And so in that sense, he is punished for not following his code. When he had a chance to walk away, he didn't, and he went back and got Wingrove. You know, Hannah is always making the choice of his career over relationships.
You know, it's like you said.
And that consistency means he's going to win.
All I have is what I'm going after.
McCauley is confused.
He's corrupted.
So he makes the wrong choice, and he's punished for that.
Cool. I love your argument, dude. And you're definitely onto something, because I read an interview with Michael Mann, which pulls it together for me and frankly supports your argument about the movie. And that kills me to say. But Michael Mann said, there's Neil living a catechism of non-attachment. That is the smart way to live your life when you're living outside the law and you come from circumstances of alienation and loneliness. You maintain your loneliness, talking about McCauley here, you maintain your alienation except for your bond to your partners, and you don't get attached. But then he does get attached to Edie, so he abandons it, meaning the code. And there's an initial rush of living an emotional life spontaneously, which McCauley is not supposed to do. In making that happen, he's abandoning navigation. So Michael Mann says the Wayne Girl moment, now that he's sort of been seduced into this emotional human life,
Yeah.
he gives in to wanting revenge. And that's his undoing. So, John, I thought I would, I don't know. On a crazy fact about Heat, where Michael Mann got his idea for the movie. So Michael Mann was friends with a guy named Chuck Adamson, who was a police detective in Chicago who killed the real Neil McCauley in 1964. So literally, the guy's name was Neil McCauley. He was a high-end bank robber. And Chuck Adamson was on that case. And they met at a diner and talked at one point. And Chuck was telling Chuck ended up becoming a TV producer and writer later in his career, after his police career. So I assume that's how he met Michael Mann and became friends. But he was telling Michael Mann about that meeting with Neil McCauley and said what was so weird about it is they got along and they had this rapport. And that in the back of Chuck's mind, he thought how strange that was because he knew they'd blow each other away if they had to. So I thought that was cool. And Michael Mann thought in that moment, that's a movie.
But Chuck Adamson did blow him away?
Yes.
So that's the answer to your question. I mean,
yes,
that's what happened in real life.
That's what happened in real life. Also, Michael Mann said he wasn't sure how to end it, but when he finally got the idea of them holding hands, that to him put it together. Because in his mind, going back to your thing about things about relationships, the sad thing about Hannah and Neil McCauley is that they're closer with each other than anyone else.
Yeah.
They sit down at that diner and they understand each other. They're opposite sides of a coin, but they're cut from the same cloth. Also, if you don't know, Michael Mann wrote and directed a TV pilot called LA Takedown. It did not get picked up, meaning they produced it, but it didn't get picked up to be a TV show. So they turned it into a TV movie, but it's Heat.
7 years in McNeil.
Yeah.
McNeil's no country club.
You looking to become a penologist?
You looking to go back?
Stress fractures in titanium?
Lady, why are you so interested in what I read and what I do?
Who did this? Wayne Grove.
Stop it, Patrick.
Really, it's almost scene for scene, except it's like this low-budget 80s cheesy movie. But what I will say about it is, it shows that Michael Mann had a vision going way back. He knows what he wants.
What the hell's the matter with you? Why'd you fall for this, huh? You were free like a bird.
Eyes grow up moment in the movie.
Okay.
We came up with this eyes grew up thing from the movie Brokeback Mountain. I turned to my brother Joe and I go, those eyes just grew up.
Yeah.
Marciano.
His eyes grow up. Yes.
Why'd I get mixed up with that bitch?
Because she got a great ass.
It's a bit iconic now, I guess. I'm going, great ass! Michael Mann, who directed that, does a lot of takes, much like the great Jim Brooks, a lot of takes. And you get a little lost in it. On take whatever, 70 it was, Al finally, probably out of boredom or just wanted to switch it up, just screamed that. He had been doing the line, because you got a great ass. He'd been doing it like that. And then all of a sudden it exploded out of him. And if you look in the movie, my reaction, I'm not acting at all. I got genuinely terrified.
When he yelled out great ass?
Yeah, I go,
great ass!
Exactly, there it is.
There it is.
And if you keep playing, you hear me go, Jesus.
Great ass.
I love when when McCauley tries to kiss her, he's like going in for the kiss. She's like, she keeps averting her face. And I love that moment because that is the embodiment of my love life over the years.
Right.
We talked about the moment where McCauley decides to go kill Wayne Grove. They go into a lighted tunnel. Now, the whole phrase, shed light on a situation, a light bulb goes on above your head. When he enters the tunnel and everything gets bright, this is the visual representation of McCauley getting the idea to kill Wayne Grove. Then, right when he gets out of the tunnel, they do the same thing they did in Goodfellas. When Jimmy decides to kill Maury, you see on his face all the emotions of deciding to kill Maury. First, he's like, loves the idea. He's smiling just because, oh my God, I'll get rid of that annoying dude. But then there's like this weird resolution. He's resolute about it. And then there's almost melancholy on his face because it's a done deal. The guy's dead. And he kind of feels a little bad about it. Same thing here with Neil McCauley. Same sort of emotions going on his face as he has made the decision to kill Waingro and how good it's going to feel to pull the trigger on that motherfucker. Weird moment. Vincent's sort of dancing with Justine. And dude, I think he presses his boner against her. Did you pick up on that?
No, I don't think so.
She's like, oh man, you're in a good mood. And he goes, yeah. And then she goes, oh. Her eyes grow up a little bit. And he goes, woman. And she starts laughing.
Woman.
And I'll tell you this, the first time we meet him, he's having sex with Justine or about to. And that's one of these great nuances about the movie. He's very attentive sexually, but emotionally, he's not available. And John,
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew this about women, but sex is not the only thing that they care about.
Weird.
Yeah. But also in that same scene with the cops at the dinner scene, I love this, dude. It's so short and so quick.
She's going to
Tell Raul.
Raul.
We don't know who Raul is, but it's a great moment. It's just a reminder to the audience what the stakes are.
A fallen comrade in
this dangerous game. So it's just a little bit of a reminder. People die. And one of the guys saying to Raul is Bosco, who ends up dying later. Wanted to bring this up. It's called a match cut. When Waingro has the prostitute in his room and he starts getting evil on her. He's like, you don't know what's going on. You're visiting with death. I'm like, this can't be good. Any conversation that starts with, you're visiting with death right now. Dude, that's when you need to walk out of things in 30 seconds flat. But dude,
yes.
But so he makes a move for her. She starts getting scared. He makes kind of like a move towards her, and we call it a match cut to the bottle being opened at the bar. So it's like he either snapped her neck or did something bad to, so that's what we call a match cut. When two similar themes are put together, that's what we call a match cut. There's a different name for cutting two things that like are the same shape, like a sun and the top of a coffee mug. They're both circular. That match is called, I have to look it up. I can't remember. So I'll just ADR and put it in there. Like a sun and the top of a coffee mug. They're both circular. That match is called, actually, John, that is also called a match cut. A match cut is a film editing technique that connects two different shots with a similar visual or auditory element, such as shape, movement, or sound, to create a seamless transition between scenes. So they're actually both called match cuts.
Yeah.
All right, John, we got to touch on the very ending when McCauley is shot by Hannah. Our friend Steve Britting has a theory on the subject. Hey, it's Steve. Britting believes McCauley essentially intends to be shot, and you agree, correct?
Yeah. Hannah looks down and sees a shadow of a person. So McCauley, he's the one who sees Hannah first. Him seeing the shadow is an indication that McCauley can see him. And they have this discussion in the cafe about, I will not hesitate.
What if you do got me boxed in? Then I gotta put you down. We've been face to face, but I will not hesitate. Not for a second.
And the reason why the shadow is important is he does hesitate. And not only does he hesitate, he wants to get shot. He wants to end it there.
I told you I'm never going back.
And on the surface, of course, this means I don't want to go to jail. But not going back here is he's done. And he's broken his code. And so if we go all the way back to your original point, which is the movie is saying that this is the code and he lives up to the code, he should win. Well, if you buy what I'm saying, I don't think he lives up to his code. and so he should lose by your rule.
It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again.
Okay, John, Cleveland won. We get it. But for real, great discussion, pal.
Yeah, another Hollywood versus Cleveland in the books. It's been a while since we've done one.
Dude, it has been a while, and it's been great talking about Heat with you, John. But dude, let's pledge right now. We're going to review Heat 2.
All right, you got it. Peace in the Middle East.
Sounds good. Peace.